So today let's talk about matrix arithmetic. So your basic addition, subtraction, and scalar multiplication, which is where you multiply a matrix by one number. We'll do matrix multiplication next. Remember, you can't do matrix division. Okay, so first thing you really need to be aware of, that equal matrices. Two matrices are equal if they have the exact same order. So that means that size must be exactly the same. Not only do they have to have the same order, they have to have the same numbers in the same positions. So all the elements have to be the same. So a matrix can only be equal if each corresponding element is equal. So I've got a couple of examples here of, that's a column matrix. It's not equal to this row matrix, even though the elements, we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but because the order is not the same, they cannot be the same. Now here, I've got the same numbers, it's the same order, but they are not equal to each other because the elements are not in the same position. And again here, if these two matrices are equal and they've got the same order, and as far as we know those elements are the same, because they are equal and the elements are the same, that means that y has to be equal to 6, because they are in the same position, and that x has to be equal to 8 because they are in the same position. Now, a thing to remember is that you can only add or subtract matrices if they have the exact same order. Okay, so there's the number one rule: you can only add or subtract matrices if they have the same order. You can add or subtract elements that are in the same. You add or subtract elements that are in the same positions. So here's my worked example. I've got matrix A and matrix B. Okay, so you can see here I've got 3 and 5 in that same position. So I add, so I'm doing A plus B, so 3 plus 5. I'm adding those together to give me 8. I've got down here, I've got 8, I've got 0, so 8 plus 0, 8. So you are adding or subtracting elements that are in the exact same position. Okay, this is why you need the matrices to be the same order, so that you can add or subtract elements in the same position. So scalar multiplication. This is when you multiply matrices by a number. When you multiply a matrix by a number, every element is multiplied by that number. So here I've got 4 times this matrix. So that's 4 times each individual element within there. So 4 times 2, 4 times 5, 4 times 6, etc., etc. And you can see how it's affected my new matrix. Okay, so the 0 matrix. A matrix with 0 as a result of its elements all being 0 is called a 0 matrix. So I've got all sorts of sizes and configurations here. These are all 0 matrices because they're all equal to, all the elements are equal to 0. So remember, there's a difference between saying something is equal to 0 and it being a 0 matrix. Okay? Not the same thing. That is not the same thing. So let's look at these past exam questions. So I've got from the 2012 exam 1, So question 1, so that means it's rated as fairly easy. So 2 times this matrix, take away that matrix. I know I can do the subtraction because these are both 3 by 2. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so I'll do this multiplication first, because remember our good old rules of big maths. So brackets, if division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, remembering that division, multiplication are done at the same time, addition and subtraction are done at the same time, always working from left to right. Okay, so I'm going to do that multiplication first. So 2 times 2 is 4, 16, 8, 2 times -1 is -2, 6, 10, take away 3, 7, 4, 2, 2, 3. Okay, and then next. Okay, 4 take 3 is 1, 16 take 7 is 9, 8 take away 4 is 4, -2 take away 2 is -4, 6 take away 2 is 4, 10 take away 3 is 7. So that should be D. Yes, and 95% of the state answered correctly. Now that's relatively quick to do by hand, but if you are unsure, you can put it into your CAS calculator. So 2 times templates, bring that up, so 3 rows and 2 columns, so that's 2 tab 8 4 tab -1 tab 3 tab 5 minus, and again change that to 2. Okay, 3 tab 7 tab 4 tab 2 tab 2 tab 3, enter, and yes, same answer. Now obviously I did that relatively quickly by hand, perhaps quicker by hand, but it's up to you what you choose to do. You've got to be mindful of the time though, especially for a question 1. You really want to be doing that pretty quickly, so you can be spending more time on the more difficult questions towards the end of that module on the exam paper.